Hey guys, how's it going? Sam from Otaku back again, here to play some more Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. I think that's the name of the game. I am just saw it on load up and I've already forgotten. So we're just gonna go ahead and get into it, play some more of the Wind of the Swords. You know, when we play in Berserk, I'm loading up to spill some shit and talk and shoot the shit. You know, yeah. Anyways, it's been a while since I last played this. I think it's been probably a few weeks now. In between that time, I went to Florida, came back. I've now done my first work week after Florida, which has just been total shit. We can maybe talk about it at the end, or maybe that'll be for another video. They just completely shafted me when I got back. But yeah, I thought I would talk about Florida, all the reasons why you shouldn't go there, and about how I had a pretty good time. I did have a good time going out there. So I went out there to stay and hang out with these guys I've played online games with. I met one of them before, so there was 3 guys that I was meeting there. Met one before. The other 2 I played games with for like fucking 10 years. So, you know, it wasn't like meeting strangers or anything. We kind of all knew each other already. So I went there, had this planned out. We probably planned, I don't know, a few months in advance, bought my tickets. So I flew American, and that's where we'll start our conversation on this. I thought I had it on autoplay, but we were just staring at that one sentence. So this flight was probably my first flight in my adult life. No, I would say it is adult life. Yeah, 100%. I think I might have flown a couple times when I was really young. I don't really remember, but I've definitely flown before. I'm almost 100% sure I've flown before. But it's been so long, and like my dad flies all the time, and I guess some of my other friends fly. I don't know. But my very first thing is my flight was leaving at 7:30 is when it was leaving. I worked that Friday 7 a.m. to 3. It would be an hour flight, I think an hour 15 to Phoenix, and then I would head there. It'd pretty much almost immediately board my next flight, and then we would leave from there to Orlando International Airport, which that flight would take, I think 5 hours is that flight. So wasn't looking forward to that one, but it was an overnight flight. Like I said, 7:30 p.m. is when it left, and it'd be overnight. And then I would get into Florida at 5:30 or something like that. I ended up getting there a little later because our planes were running late, but let's get into the story of the airport. So my very first grievance with the fucking airport, I went to John Wayne. So I live in the kind of like the LA, Orange County area. I went to John Wayne and not LAX. I could have saved a few bucks going to LAX, but not worth going all the way out there. So went to John. Oh, cutscene. How cool! The CG cutscene. That kind of sucks. We're in, boys. We're in. Anyways, went to John Wayne, and this is when I first figured out. So I did my 7 to 3 at work, came home, packed my shit, immediately had to go because apparently, I don't know how many of you guys know this. I feel like this isn't common knowledge, you know. You have to be there 2 hours. I was told 2 hours to be safe. So that way, in case there's any bullshit or, I don't know, for any reason something happens, you're there. Which immediately I'm not fond of. I do not want to be sitting in the fucking airport for 2 hours. And what did I do? I fucking got there 2 hours early because I'm a bitch. So, came home, packed my shit. Oh, sub-weapons. R1 to use a sub-weapon. Packed my shit and immediately headed over to John Wayne because, you know, just fuck my life at this point. I'm trying to get off the horse, guys. I can't figure it out, so. I think it's X. There we go. So show up to the airport. I have a laptop bag and a carry-on. So So you're allowed to have one carry-on which you put in the overhead bin, and then you have the one which you put into underneath the seat in front of you, come to find out, which is shitty because that's your leg space right there. Your leg space is gone. So they expect you to use your leg space for more storage space, which is just bullshit to begin with. But I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So I get there 2 hours early. I stopped, or on the way there I grabbed McDonald's. And it's like, okay, I'm set. I ate McDonald's, now I just gotta sit there and wait. So literally I did. I opened my laptop. We had no problems going through the security thing. You had to take your laptop out of your bag to go through the metal scanner or the x-ray scanner, whatever it is. Because apparently they don't want anything blocking it in case, I don't know, you have some sort of fucking super secret thing that's hiding bombs in your laptop. So they made you take that out, which was a huge hassle because then it's like, oh, well, now I have to fucking put it all the way back in when I get back through the fucking thing. So I did that. I felt like I was the only retard there asking questions. It was like walking through the gate. I was like, oh, okay, should I take out my jacket? You know, it's like, do you want everything in there? Can I just throw the laptop on the roller thing? Because they give you buckets, but there wasn't enough buckets for what they were trying to fucking establish here, making everybody take off their electronics and put them in something else. So I was like, oh, do I just slide my laptop down the thing? Like, is that okay? You know, so I did that. I ended up getting a bucket for the laptop, but got a bucket for the laptop, and then I had to put a separate bucket for all of my other electronics. So like my wallet, my phone. I brought headphones so that I could watch stuff on the plane. That was no problem. So I got in. It's like, okay, I found my gate. Wasn't that big of an issue. And then I was like, all right, I'll just sit here, open up my laptop, maybe watch anime. We'll see. We'll see what the night's bringing me. So I go, watch my gate. It's like, oh, okay, right here. And then they have these signs plastered up all over everywhere near my gate where it's like, oh, sorry for the inconvenience. Our electrical outlets are broken. Somehow all the electrical outlets that they have there for customers to use are broken at my gate. It's like, okay. And, you know, I'm trying really hard here not to fuck up my flight because that's not something I want to be doing. I don't want to be like, oh, missed my flight, gotta stay longer, do a later fucking trip, you know. I can't afford that. So I'm like, okay, so what are my options here? I could either go walk and find another gate, or I just suck it up and I sit here in fucking silence and waste the battery on my laptop or my phone, which I don't want to do because I need the phone to be in contact with my ride when I land down in Florida. And I'm going to need, I was planning on not, I guess the laptop wouldn't have been an issue because I was planning on sleeping. That was my original plan. I was going to sleep once I got to the big flight. That way I could show up in Florida and we could immediately start doing shit, you know? We could hop on board the train and get it going. We could hit up a theme park or something. So I decide, you know what? I'll just pay attention to the time. The flight starts boarding 30 minutes early. So when it hits about 45 minutes, I'll come back over. So I walked over to another gate where there was like nobody fucking sitting there. So I was like, oh, I was like, cool, okay. So just pull up my fucking laptop, chilled there, and it's kind of inconvenient to have to. So in the airport, I don't know how often you guys have been there, they have signs all up over everywhere that you cannot leave your bag unattended. A lot of this might be like, well, duh, you know. But it's so inconvenient. It's like you're sitting there browsing your laptop, minding your own fucking business. It's like, oh, yeah, wait, I actually can't leave my bag here. So heaven forbid if I need to use the fucking bathroom, I'm going to have to drag all my shit into the bathroom and set it somewhere while I take a shit or take a piss. So I'm sitting there, have to pee. So it's like, okay, let me put my laptop back in my bag. Let me unplug my laptop. Let me grab my fucking clothes bag, put all that on my back, go into the bathroom, set it next to the fucking urinal, take a piss, then go back and set up all my shit again. So just a huge inconvenience. This airplane trip was just full of inconveniences for me. So once that was done, we finally started boarding on the flight. I'm in like the peasant group, you know. I think it's group 7 is what I was always in, or group 6. Which they have certain groups that board first, which would be like the VIP, not the VIP, but like the first class and exit row. And then there's priority seating, which is closer to the other side of the plane. So those people go first, then group 6 and 7 are like the peasant ones, the ones that are sitting in the back of the plane. You can't afford to sit in the front of the bus. Segregation going on here. So I walk up, I printed out my boarding pass. I had the app on the phone, but just to be safe, I printed it out. And Oh. Oh, okay, yeah, remember just crushing it. Got it. So I get onto the plane, I sit down. This is the first plane, it's only an hour flight, and immediately, to my initial glee, there's TVs on all the back of the headsets, like monitors. It's like, fuck yes. You know, this is what I'm talking about. Having a fucking monitor on a flight, I'm in. It should be no fucking problem, you know? So I sit down. There was already an old lady and a young, I say young, but it's like, you know, I forget, I'm young too. Probably like an Asian guy my age. Like he clearly finished college, and you know, so he's probably about my age, probably mid-20s. Just got a fucking loot thing right there. Sit down. So old white lady, young Asian guy, probably my age, 25, and then me. And I'm on the row seat for all of my flights. I'm on the aisle seat is where I am. So I take up the aisle seat. I sit down like, hey, how's it going? You know, and I start immediately put my shit up above the thing, pull out my headphones, plug that into the TV, and I'm like starting to browse. You know, I'm starting to choose my plans. So they have a whole bunch of cool movies. Like I could have watched Kong Skull Island. It wasn't out at the time. It wasn't out on DVD. It was in the theaters. So I could have watched that, which would have been cool. But the flight was only an hour and 15, or an hour, you know, something along that. So I couldn't really watch the movie because it was 2 hours. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess, you know, I don't want to start the movie and not be able to watch all of it. So I start browsing, looking for TV, and it's just a bunch of crap TV, you know. Just a bunch of stuff that you're just not going to want to watch. Like, I don't know what went wrong on the TV section, but they just could not get any rights for the fucking TV. This bitch-ass Gaston keeps dragging this guy away from me. There you go, I got him. So they had awful TV selections. I ended up settling on Bob's Burgers, which I've heard a lot of people say is a really good show. And I think I watched 3 or 4 episodes for the flight, and it just didn't do it for me. You know, it was alright. It was noise in the background while I was flying. It took my mind off the flight, but it's like, it was just like, it didn't make me laugh. It wasn't like anything too fucking hilarious. Oh, we're close to the feet apparently. Didn't attack my cannon? So, let me rewind a little bit. When I first sit down, this Asian guy and this old lady are having a conversation, and he's talking about what he does, you know, because I think he started the conversation. Like, you know, you sit down and then someone immediately makes some fucking comment like they want to talk, and it's like, So I immediately put my headphones in because I was like, I just don't want to be involved in this conversation at all. I just want to sit here and fucking be on my way. But this old lady takes the bait, 100% takes the bait. So they're sitting there talking, and they're like, oh, yeah, so what do you do? What do you do? It's like, oh, well, I do, you know, so for, like, large companies, I do tech support. That's my job. I do the tech support for really large companies. So if there's something wrong, they call me, and I diagnose the computer and see if anything's wrong with it, and I help them fix it that way. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, so did you go to, like, college for that? Or is, like, do you have a degree to do that? How does that work? And he's like, no. He said, I did go to college, yeah. She's like, oh, well, that's really cool that you have a degree to do that. You know, that's become really handy with how computers are becoming more big. You know, like computers are taking all the jobs. And he was like, oh, well, I actually didn't go to college for computers or anything like that. That's just kind of a skill I already knew. And she's like, oh, so you don't have a degree to work on the computers? Like, you didn't go to school to learn how to fix them or anything like that? And the guy just, like, doesn't give a fuck. Like, you know, if I was him, I'd be, like, I'd be probably a bit more awkward. Like, yeah, you know, she should have had a degree maybe to help work on computers for large companies, you know, just to be safe. But this guy's like, no, I went to college for creative writing. And at that point, I'm like, okay. He's like, you know, he clearly worded this thing saying that he went to college like he did go to college for this job, and he was bragging earlier about how he got a full ride to college, and his sisters and all of him have got completely full rides. They didn't have to pay for anything, and he did the full thing, and now he's got a nice job. And so then he continues talking. He's like, yeah, and then, you know, I also have a YouTube channel that I do stuff on, and he starts talking about how he records himself playing games and uploads them to YouTube. And I'm like, oh. It's like, okay, you know, my initial reaction to this is like scoffing, like, sure, it's like, he's probably not that fucking big, whatever, which, you know, not for me to say, I'm not that fucking big, but, you know, skepticism on what exactly he's bragging about here, because no, I don't go around bragging like, yeah, I got a YouTube channel, you should check it out, you know. It's like, I'm not going around bragging to people about that. So this guy brings it up. I'm like, okay, this will be interesting, sure. And so he mentions this old lady, like he has this YouTube channel, and her very first initial reaction to him telling her that he records himself playing games and people watch it. She's like, people watch that? Like, people actually watch you play games? Like, just doesn't understand this scenario at all. And so he has to go in now to this, he's in this rabbit hole where he has to describe why people watch it. So he's like, well, you know, so I stream on YouTube and then it uploads it to my YouTube channel and people watch it from there. And she's just like, but why? He's like, why don't people just play it on their own? Which, you know, is of course common complaints or common things people say about this all the time. And it's like, well, you know, and he got this, to his credit, he had a reasoning built up. So I imagine he's had this conversation before. He's like, well, people like to watch you so that way they can, you know, see what the game's like first, see if they want to buy it, kind of like a demo, or sometimes they would just rather watch than get up and play the games themselves because it's too frustrating or something like that. And I was like, man, it's like this guy had a fucking loaded response already for that thing. And this old lady was just like, she didn't even try to understand. She was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. And then he's like, yeah. And so my YouTube channel has like 200, I think he said 200,000 views. And I was like, wow, it's like, that's really impressive. 200,000 views, like, you know, I take back all my horrible remarks that I was thinking in my head. I never said anything, but, you know, I was thinking it like, you know, it's pretty bullshit, whatever. But, you know, he proved me wrong. 200,000 views. I was like, damn, I was fucking impressed. So they get to talking, and she's like, wow, that's really, really good. And he's like, he could have just stopped there and accepted the praise. But then he was just like, yeah, and I also have 200 subscribers on the channel too. And I was like, it's like, okay, so that's not that much. So either he had one video that did really well for some reason, and just nobody stuck around to watch any of his other stuff. But 200 subscribers, not that good. I feel like if you had 200,000 views, you should have way more subscribers. 200 subs, that's nothing. I don't know what happened there. So this conversation happens. That's the last thing I hear after hearing him like spew all this stuff about his full ride to college. His sister's got full rides. He has a YouTube channel. He basically, the whole plane ride, he made himself sound really good, and then he shot his own plane. Like, he sounded really good, and then shot himself in the foot. And then he sounded really good, and then he shot himself in the foot.